What's up, King Cats? Welcome back to my channel. Luna, you want to come say hi? You want to come say hi to the YouTube video? I'm sure you'll be in it. So good morning. It's Monday. I've got my espresso made up. We're going to do a little physique update later on in this video. For now, I'm just taking my morning supplements. See, she does this every time I film. I am missing a few that I needed to reorder. I and I included one because I had the bottle. I did reorder these already. They're just not here yet. My Thyroid Boost, my Cordy's, but I take that at night, and then my vitamin D. So those are not in this. So just pretend. Here's what I take in the morning. So first off, we have Yohimbine, whatever you want to call it. This is a fat burner. It's one of the only legal fat burners that's actually shown to be effective. Any over-the-counter fat burner is not going to have like a huge, massive impact. It'll never outweigh what you're doing as far as diet and cardio and all of that stuff, but it can be helpful. Only thing to note, and I actually had issues with this in the past, but not presently, with Yohimbine triggering my anxiety. Perhaps it was because I was more actively dealing with anxiety then versus now. But if you are somebody that is prone to anxiety, is actively dealing with anxiety, has anxiety, any of those things, either proceed with caution or stay away from Yohimbine because it can make it worse because it is a stimulant. Next, we just have a probiotic. Anything that's out there about gut health is not set in stone really, just because gut science is so new. But there has been a few bodybuilders, and I talked with Jason about this as well, that use probiotics for immunity actually, so for enhancing immunity. So I noticed back in the late spring, early summer, that whenever I would get on and off planes, which was a lot because I was traveling a lot at the time, I would get sick every single time. And so this is something I started implementing, a probiotic regimen again, to help with immunity and hopefully prevent getting sick when I get on and off airplanes. And knock on wood, but the last 2 times I've been on airplanes, when I went to Florida and when I went to Houston, I did not get sick afterwards. So the next one is Thyroid Boost. That's one of the ones that I am out of. And then next we have Triton fish oil from Legion, which the fish oil is one of the, in my opinion, best supplements that anyone can take. It's one that I consider a staple supplement, especially when you're dieting. Actually, essential fatty acids, omega-3s are an essential fatty acid, but your body will actually deplete those rather quickly. And because they are essential and you have to get them through their diet, a lot of people, especially if you're following a standard American diet, you're not eating a ton of fatty fish, you're probably not getting enough. And plant source omega-3s are less bioavailable and you need quite a bit more of them to match animal-based omega-3s. So I just take a fish oil supplement in the morning that is well dosed, and then I take half of the dose of Triumph. This Legion's a multivitamin, and I'll take the other half later on in the day. But that is that. We have our coffee, or our espresso. I've been using these Nordic Variations cinnamon swirl espresso pods, and look at how pretty they are. First of all, they're so beautiful. So I will actually just double brew this because it's only a 230 milliliter pod. So I will just hit the little thing twice. I won't use 2 pods because I do not need that much caffeine. But I will drink this, and then I have to get my check-in ready to send to both Jason and Alex. All right, so you guys ask me all the time about my vacuums, why I do them, all that stuff. I'm not, oh, is that focused? Okay. I'm not fully ready to make an instructional video yet, just because I want to make sure that I'm really good at them first. And I'll just show you. So I do 5 holds every morning and every night. I've worked up to 20 seconds from 15. So here we go. Okay guys, here's what's going down. I don't know why I'm sitting like this. It just felt right. But I already recorded today's training session in a video, so I'm not gonna just do it again. Also, this is just an old Adidas wet shirt that I cropped because I didn't like the way it looked with the sleeves with the kangaroo pocket. But I already recorded today's training session, so I don't want to record it again. So I don't know if I'll film tomorrow's session because I already have footage of that. Today might just be an overview of just some life stuff and then a little chit chat. I don't know, but that's what's going on. So if there's workout footage in the next clip, you'll know that there's workout footage, and if there's not, there's not. So carry on. Does Luna footage make up for lack of workout footage? We just want more Luna. Yes, we do. Do we just want more Looney? More little Toony Toon? More Looney Tunes? Have you ever seen such a creature? Guaranteed you haven't. Because you're like Tigger, you're the only one. You're the only one. You're the one that I want. Shoo-bop, shoo-ba-da-ba. Loon, loon, loon. I love you. I love you, big fluffy girl. Alright, it is that time. It's post-workout time, and I figure I would keep on with the supplement trend from this morning. Since I showed you some of my morning supplements, I'm going to show you some of my post-workout ones. These are things that I have every single day, whether it's a training day, whether it's a rest day, whatever it is. Obviously, I'm doing this post-workout right now because I just worked out. But whether I worked out or not, these happen every day. So I always have like a little smoothie bowl along with my oats. I sent out the recipe to my email list exclusively a few months back, but I do some Legion protein powder in there. I got these little containers from Target. I remember what kind of protein it is. I just put an L on it for Legion. This is their salted caramel. It's like my absolute favorite flavor from them. And then I put a scoop of greens in there for some additional nutrients. There's a lot of debate on greens powders and their efficacy, and I think those debates are valid. Why I take a greens powder is largely just because, one, when you're in a deficit, and I do take this year round, so it's not just when I'm in a deficit, but when you are in a deficit, it does become harder to get in nutrients in the quantities that you need just because food availability is lower because you are in a deficit and therefore are eating less food and are therefore eating less nutrients. But also greens powders, at least well-formulated ones, they do provide more obscure nutrients that you're probably not going to get in an efficacious dose from food sources alone. So like the odds of me eating 5 grams of spirulina throughout my day, very low. But part of why I like Legion so much, there's a lot of reasons, but one, they're very honest about their labeling, and there's a lot of supplement companies that aren't. So what that means is if you look at a label of a supplement, like if you look at and I'll pop the label up on the screen, the label of Legion greens powder, you can see every single ingredient, line item listed, and the dose of each respective ingredient. If it's a blend, all that a company has to do legally is list the total weight of the blend itself, along with the ingredients in the blend. I do believe they have to list them in order of concentration. So the ingredient with the highest concentration is listed first in the blend, and then it goes in descending order from there. But if you're, and this isn't just a safety concern, which it is a safety concern because the dose of a supplement makes it, every time I film, I swear to God, but the dose of a supplement makes it either effective, ineffective, or dangerous. So if you don't know the dose, you don't know what amount of that ingredient you're getting. Companies can also sneak things in. I'm not saying that they are, but they can. If you don't know what dose of something that you're taking, you don't know if you're taking a research substantiated dose or not. So a lot of times what companies will do, and this is how they drive their price points down, is they'll only put in marginal amounts of, you know, buzzword ingredients, you know, like superfoods or whatever. They'll put in marginal amounts instead of actually quality amounts, so they can drive their prices down, but say, oh, this has maca in it, oh, this has spirulina in it, stuff like that. So when you're looking at supplements in general, I advise not purchasing supplements that are listed as blends, matrices, complexes, whatever it is, because now you, the consumer, don't know what dose of the respective ingredients in that blend you're getting. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And then this last one, this is how I take my creatine. This is just Legion's recharge supplement. I do have an entire video on creatine. Big fan of creatine, whether you are in a dieting phase, a maintenance phase, a growing phase, whatever it is. Especially if you're in a dieting phase. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I should take creatine out when I'm dieting so I lose weight, right? No, absolutely not. So the reason for that is because if you're taking creatine, it's an ergogenic supplement as far as sport performance and training performance. Luna agrees, obviously. But if you get the performance benefit of creatine while you're building, why would you want to take away a performance benefit when you're already in a caloric state where you're more likely to lose performance, aka a dieting phase? So you want to be trying to keep performance as top-notch as possible. So why would you stop taking something that keeps performance high in a dieting phase when you've already got other factors coming in that would cause your performance to drop, if that makes sense. So when you have lower calories, after a period of time, your performance will suffer. So you want to keep things in like creatine that are going to act as performance boosters or performance enhancers, but in this case, the legal kind. And also just note that weight gain from creatine comes from water being pulled intracellularly, so inside your cells, which one is a good thing. Intracellular water is good. Extracellular water is not the kind of water that we want. But two, that's part of its job. That's literally part of how creatine works, is cell hydration. So keep that in mind. So those are some post-workout supplements. I'm really not good at the whole, there's like this thing where people are like, you should only talk in the same clip for, 1 minute or less. I'm like, I can't do that. I talk too much. So I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna eat my fat bowl of oats and I'll see ya. Hey girl, are you crazy girl? Are you crazy girl? I love, first of all, having small boobs because I can get away with this, but braless blazer moments. There's literally nothing under this. I'm like the wanna buy a watch guy, except I'm a girl, but I can get away with it. You literally, you can't see anything. No, nothing, because there's not really a whole lot there. We got the low bun happening because I'm lazy. All right, everyone. I am just cooking up some dinner, aka I'm trying to get the spinach unfrozen. But I have been doing check-ins and I just wanted to share. What? I'm hoping I'm in focus with this new lens. It's really anybody's game. But just wanted to share some thoughts with you guys because I have been working on client check-ins and I had one from one of my clients and we had just a really good discussion about awareness and thought patterns and habits and everything like that. And first of all, I will never ever claim to be a mindset coach or any of that because that's not what I do. That's not my field. I'm not a psychologist, but I do think there is something just inherently synergistic about changing your physical health and your thoughts around that because everything's connected, right? So basically what she was talking about within her check-in was just she developed an awareness around one of her thought patterns, which our thought patterns lead to behavioral patterns more often than not. And so I told her in my response to her, I was like, I'm really proud of you for this, for one, because it took two things. It took one, self-awareness to even realize that the patterns you were getting into existed, not even that they were problematic, that they just existed in the first place. That requires awareness and self-awareness. But two, the vulnerability to share that with me as your coach. I mean, I need you to share those things with me when I'm your coach because like I need honesty from you. But so it took self-awareness and vulnerability. And like I just want to talk to you guys today about just developing some more awareness just in your life as a whole. I think that's something we could all stand to have more of just because literally everything stems from awareness. Because if you don't have awareness of something, if you're not aware that something is a problem, is a good habit, is a bad habit, that it even exists at all, you can't begin to even try to change it or keep doing it or whatever because you don't know it's there. But if you have no awareness of particularly your thoughts, because in my opinion, so much of our action stems from here first. And obviously, like from a physical perspective, all action is driven by the brain anyway. But in the metaphoric sense, everything that we do is driven by our thoughts. And if we don't have any awareness around the thoughts that we allow to enter and leave our brain and the actions that they create, we can't begin to make any kind of change. So like without awareness, we have nothing. So what I really want to encourage in you guys is just ask yourself, and like, if you figure it out, if you figure one out, leave a comment below. I would love to hear it. But like, what's one area of your life where you could use a little bit more awareness? What's something that you would like to develop more awareness around? And a lot of times people like will ask, you know, well, how do I start doing that? How do I start developing that? And honestly, just, it sounds so silly, but like sitting and being quiet. You might not be a meditator, that's okay. Even something as simple as 2 minutes of mindfulness. The Calm app, I'm a big fan of the Calm app. I have been for years. They have mindfulness sessions that are as short as 2 minutes long. But just sitting in stillness and quietness alone with yourself and your thoughts and seeing what comes up, for one, that can be a scary experience. But I really encourage you to do it, because if we don't do that, if we're constantly being stimulated externally by our jobs, by our families, by our friends, by our relationships, all this stuff, all of our other, you know, day-to-day human obligations, we never get a chance to actually check in with ourselves and figure out, hey, what's going on in my brain? What happens when I actually slow down for a minute? What comes up? What do I start to notice? And what I told my client, I was like, when we develop an awareness, in my opinion, around a like thought, around a habit, around anything, one time, just one time, you can start to identify it when it comes up in the future, anytime it happens. It might take a couple times of it coming up to be like, oh wait, I've experienced this before, I've felt this before, I've done this before, whatever it is. And if it's a negative habit, you can say, or a negative thought that leads to a negative habit, or a negative just thought habit, if we want to call it that, you can identify it. And then you can say, I've been here before, I know what this is, let me think of something actionable that I can do to change this or shift this thought. And I can figure out where that thought comes from too, and why I have that, because I think that's just as important, getting to the why behind what we do and how we think and all of those things. So yeah, once you identify something one singular time, you can start to then identify it when it comes up and presents itself in the future, because it will. So really what I want to encourage you guys with today, and you know, today is the 30th, obviously it's a new year coming, and a lot of people have health goals, business goals, financial goals, all this stuff. I think a lot of setting goals and meeting them and figuring out why we haven't met them already stems from an awareness. So work on developing awareness before you work on anything else. Like start to audit and take inventory of different areas of your life and be like, hey, here's what's going really well for me, maybe like financially, and here's maybe where I could tighten things up a bit or behave a bit differently or things like that. Same with your fitness. You know, here's what I'm doing really well. I'm drinking enough water throughout the day. I'm getting enough sleep, but I'm not paying attention to my nutrition as much as I would like. Or maybe my training intensity has suffered a little bit with like the distraction of the holidays, of my job, of whatever it is. And you can start to pick at areas that need work. So develop an awareness and you can change so much of your life. So that's going to be my little rant for the moment. I'm going to eat my little stir fry situation here. I just have chicken, red potatoes, spinach, and then I'm going to put it on some greens and add some carrot olive oil. Code Emily, link in description. I'm going to eat this and then I will see you in a minute.
Till I get up.
Alright you guys, I just wanted to sign out of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was just a lot of talking. Some people love more talking style videos. Some people like a little bit more dynamic variation. So I'll try and make sure we keep a mixture in there. But that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you learned something, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell so you never miss another video. I love you guys so much. Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.